Folks, the shocking video of the murder of Philando Castile was released yesterday. The police dash cam video shows exactly what took place when former officer, actually he's going to be fired, Jeronimo Yanez, pulled Castile over. Play the video. It is quite gruesome.
The reason I put you over, your brake lights are out. So you only have one active brake light, and that's going to be your passenger side one. Your third brake light, which is up here on top, and then this one back here is going to be out. You have your license and insurance?
I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out!
Okay, guys, so do me a favor. I want you to roll that tape back because, I want people to hear. You hear Castile, Yanez said, don't pull it out. Castile says, I'm not. Says it again, don't pull it out. I'm not. And then Yanez freaks out, fires the shots at him. Now, mind you, Diamond Reynolds' daughter's in the back seat. In the back seat. She's behind the driver's wheel. Now, go ahead, play the video again. Remember, Yanez was charged with second-degree manslaughter.
Good. How are you? Good. The reason I put you over, your brake lights are out. So you only have one active brake light, and that's going to be your passenger side one. Your third brake light, which is up here on top, and then this one back here is going to be out. You have your license and insurance?
I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out! Don't move!
Oh man, oh my!
Don't move!
Oh my!
Don't move!
Oh my God! I'm shaking!
Don't move!
Don't move, baby!
Code 3! Get the baby girl out of here!
Don't move, sir!
Don't move!
Move, babe, please! Whatever you
6921, get back here, code 3! Shots fired!
Yanez was found not guilty of second-degree manslaughter and endangering safety by discharging a firearm. Jury deliberated for 5 days before acquitting him of all of the charges. And the jury saw that video. What in the world happened in this case? Joining us on the phone is Nakima Levy-Pounds, the former president of the Minneapolis NAACP. Also joining us on the show is from FaceTime via New York, is DeLacy Davis, founder of Black Cops Against Police Brutality. He's a retired police sergeant. DeLacy, I'm going to go to you first. When you see that video and you hear Castile say, I have a permit. Guy says, don't pull the firearm out. He says, I'm not. I'm not. Your assessment of when you saw this video?
My assessment was a couple of things, Roland. First of all, the officer panicked. The split-second decision-making that police officers have to make in a shoot-don't-shoot scenario, he accelerated it instead of de-escalating it. And finally, when you look at his partner on the sidewalk, he seems as though he's in a whole nother video.
Right.
Because he doesn't react as an officer who sees or feels or believes that there's a threat that is imminent.
Absolutely. And so, and remember, if I'm correct here, I remember the FaceTime video, was Castile driving or was he on the passenger side?
He's driving, I believe.
Okay. So you have this officer responding this way, and you hear Castile says, I'm not pulling it out.
Correct. So here's what happens. There's a bunch of research out there that says that race matters, and that what we've seen, even when it's simulated shooting, when it's video games, and as we saw in this unfortunate case, real life scenarios, the officers, the suspect, the so-called suspect's race matters. So what we're seeing is that when it's a black person, the bias kicks in that says they're aggressive and that they can be violent. And so now that perception, that bias perception, now is fed when Castile says, I have a gun, which is what he's supposed to report to the officer. So the officer's bias kicks in, and he begins to accelerate this scenario in a way that shouldn't be, because, again, the officer on the sidewalk doesn't respond the same way.
Nakima, what was the reaction from activists yesterday when this video was finally released?
Many activists were outraged by this dash cam video. Many also attended the trial where this video was played 8 or 9 times. And so it was baffling to know that the jury watched this particular video over and over and over again and still came to the conclusion that Yanez was not guilty in this particular scenario. It's highly disturbing, to say the least, but it's part of a pattern of what's been happening in Minnesota with the failure to hold police officers accountable when they kill civilians. Beyond that, Philando Castile went above and beyond what the law requires in even reporting that he had a firearm. That's actually not required under the law in the state of Minnesota.
But it's required when you're black.
Yes.
I want to bring in our panel here, A. Scott Bolden, attorney and former chair of the D.C. Democratic Party, Greg Carr, chair of the Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University, Raynard Jackson, GOP strategist. Scott, again, I'm dumbfounded how a jury can see this video and not see the cop panic, not see he freaked out. You hear Castile say, I'm not, twice, yet he still gets hit 7 times.
Yeah, you know, I've prosecuted and defended these types of cases on both sides of the aisle. Here's the deal. What the jury gets as far as jury instructions, and what you can't see in the video, is whether the driver, in this case, I'm not making it right, but what is the driver going for? Despite his words, this is a police officer who accelerated it, got nervous, freaked out. You can tell it. Within a minute, he's firing his weapon. And before that, there's all calm, really, on both sides here.
Right.
And so the jury, when the police officer takes the stand, you know what he says. He says, I thought he was going for a gun.
I fear for my life.
And I fear for my life. That video, quite frankly, mandates almost, based on his testimony, that the jury is not going to second-guess that police officer, and his defense attorney is going to lay that out to the jury. And I'm not saying it's right, but here again, we have a fundamental case. Police officers are hard to convict because juries don't want to second-guess them what they're doing on the street.
Greg, at the end of the day, if you look at this video, it is clear who escalated this entire situation.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you know, echo what Scott says, you know, juries are put in difficult positions because the prosecution, including the judge, are against black people. The judge has a lot to do with this. What are the jury instructions when they ask for to see something again? Do you deny it? In this case, I think Valerie Castile had the most eloquent reaction, not on the steps of St. Paul, the state capitol, but in her car on Facebook herself, when she said, I don't know where they got these jurors from. We're not baffled. We're outraged. This is what's going to happen in Cincinnati with the Sam DuBose case. We're going to see it perhaps in Milwaukee, unless that cop, who is black, he might get convicted. There are 4 blacks on the jury. But the bottom line is this. You're looking at a country that is terrified of black people, has always been terrified of black people. Jeff Sessions yesterday talking about law and order with these 12 cities, one of which is Springfield, Illinois, that had a race riot, which led to the birth of the NAACP. This is not going to be solved in the courts, brother.
Raynard Jackson, at the end of the day, when you're black, I mean, I keep saying this, and I said this, I was traveling on Sunday, a 23-year police officer in Fort Lauderdale came up to me and he said, man, he's a cop. He said, when are these cops going to start getting convicted? I said, when several white people get killed the same way black folks do.
Exactly. Yeah, I have 2 comments to that. Number one, remember a lot of the laws on the books give police a whole lot of latitude in how they act in a situation like that. So my suggestion is we need to narrowly tailor these laws on the use of police force, number one, and the rules of engagement. That's on a local level there. Number 2, we can't have this conversation, Roland, without questioning our complicity. When I say our, the black community, because we have, through rap music in the early 90s, I'm gonna start with that. I'm not going all the way back to historical time. We have set up here and said, F the police. we set up here and said, you know, we're thugs, we bling bling, and you got, hold on, Russell, Roland, let me finish.
So
if you look at most,
well,
hold on, let me finish.
For rap music.
No, hold on,
no,
let me finish, Scott. If you look at most of these police officers who are shooting these black folks, most of them are 45 and under. They came through an age and an era where
Raynard, 80% of hip hop is bought by white kids.
No, that's not the
Do
point,
white
Roland.
kids not carry guns?
No,
Do white kids not?
Come on.
DeLacy, go
That's
ahead.
right.
I'm sorry. DeLacy, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he's mistaken. The reality is we cannot blame rap music or anything else in the popular culture in that regard for people shooting black people. 25 years ago, 50 years ago, cops were still shooting black people. In fact, some of the research says that even when you put black police officers on the force, in fact, the violence against black people may increase unless the police officers represent 40% or more of the force. So we can't blame everyone else. What we have to deal with is the social reality is that black people are viewed through the prism of being criminal first and guilty until proven innocent.
Nakima.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I agree. We cannot blame rap music. It was the abuse that black men were encountering in South Central LA, in Compton, in South Central LA, in which I grew up, that led to NWA to actually write those songs. We did not create the laws that allow officers to kill us with impunity, and we should not accept responsibility for this travesty of justice that's going on. This is all about white supremacy and giving police officers way too much power without the appropriate checks and balances in place.
Raynard,
Officer Yanez actually didn't get fired, Roland, even though our local media reported that he was fired. They're actually allowing this man to resign with a severance package. That way he'll be eligible to go work in any other department around the country.
And let's remind people, and let's remind folks as well, when you talk about this particular case, what happened here, you also had the officers who were interviewed. And he said, what kind of man is he that's smoking weed in front of a kid? He's making judgments.
That's right.
Absolutely. And by the way, if you look at that video and you break it down, there is no indication whatsoever from the officer or from the participant, from the driver or anyone in the car that this suspect is either smoking marijuana or not, or that he is a suspect in a robbery. It's about the tail light. It's very calm.
20 seconds.
The whole point you made, Roland, the biggest indictment in that video is the other cop. He's got his hands in his vest, and then when he starts shooting, what does he do? He didn't pull out his weapon. He starts skipping back and catches the child right now. The biggest indictment of that cop is the white cop on the other side.
DeLacy, we appreciate it. Nakima, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. A peaceful protest turned deadly. 37-year-old black man was shot and killed by Baton Rouge police. Your hands are in the air, and you still get shot by the cops.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
We're not going to let hate define us.
Race is a big part of this.
If truly all lives matter, then all lives need to matter equally.
What we require is action. What we require is accountability. We understand that black lives do matter, and we will keep focused on this issue.
NewsOne Now, every weekday morning at 7 on TV1.